Horses are so reactive, okay? They don't have the ability to communicate like we do. And so what they do is they have like more senses, it seems like, and they're fully reactive to it. So why is this important? One of the things that demonstrates is what's inside of our heart and souls and what these thoughts are that are going on between our ears, it's coming out.
Shane Jacob, founder of the Horsemanship Journey,
discussing how principles from working with horses
can help struggling teens and parents
reduce anxiety, stress, and depression.
Is that the horse, after about just a very short period of time, okay, when I change my behavior, now I'm being fair. This is over. Now I'm doing something that you clearly understand. I've changed my behavior. You could see this. That horse, okay, after just a couple of times, and once that he accepts my new behavior, the other behavior is gone. And I mean gone. There's no residue. There's not like, hey, remember that one time because you're going to suffer for it. There's none of that, okay? It's like fully forgiven and forgotten. So why am I bringing this up? I'm bringing it up because...
Welcome to It's Your Choice podcast. Today on the show, we have Shane Jacob. Now, Shane is the founder of the Horsemanship Journey and developer of Stable Living Coaching. Stable Living offers help for hurting and struggling teens and parents using principles seen in horses to reduce anxiety, stress, and depression and increase self-confidence, self-esteem, and hope. Welcome to the show, Shane.
Thank you so much for having me. I appreciate the opportunity.
Shane, how do horses reduce anxiety, stress, and depression, and then also increase the self-confidence, self-esteem, and hope in teens?
Yeah, it's a super good question. You know, the truth of your question is that horses don't get it done. You know, individuals, we have to get it done ourselves. But horses, a lot of times, you know, they are these just magnificent creatures that just just being in their presence is, you feel a little different, you know, it changes you. And when you see, you know, we like to relate principles in working with horses and principles that horses demonstrate. And it makes the things that we need to do make a little more sense. It feels like we get a little more cooperation. Just looking at the similarities in the relationship that men and women that we as humans have with horses and the similarities that, you know, we have with each other and with our kids.
Excellent. And so when teens come to stay with you, or are they staying with you? Like, is it a number of weeks or days or longer? How does the whole process there work?
Yeah, good question. So Stable Living is virtual, online. We have just about 2 per year live events where we actually bring everybody in a group, and then we have the horses and demonstrate a lot of the principles that we look at. But ongoing, we're online for most of the time.
Okay, great. And what are some of the main challenges that you deal with the teens?
Yeah, there's so many, you know. Being a teenager, adolescent, it's a tough time, man. It's a big deal, this transition to adulthood, you know. You're shaking your head. You've tried it yourself, and you may have kids yourself too. I don't know, but
yes.
Or both? Okay.
Both, yeah, both.
Yep. So, you know, it's a big deal. A lot of times we, when we get there, there's not a lot of manuals. We're trying to figure out what the best thing to do is. And there's just so much, you know, and, really we're trying to, as teenagers, we're trying to figure out our identity. You know, we want to be adults and have our own decision making and be autonomous and be valued as a full and complete human being, even though we're not fully, mature. And then we're trying to figure out who we are and what everything feels like, and all this swirling emotion and all the messages going through our head, and do we fit in, and what does it mean? And so it's also a critical time, because all of this formation that's happening, this maturity, It's a time that can really make a difference in the long term in your life. And I'll give you a quick short story of when I was a teen and even into my 20s. Okay, I just went out into the world and went to school, and I thought that I didn't quite measure up. I thought I was deficient. I thought, I was a little bit less than in some way. And the thing of it is I didn't have anything to like pin it on. I didn't have a specific trauma. I felt like I was had a decent family life and so on and so forth. But I was super shy, very uncomfortable with other people. I tried to fit in and do good in sports and do good in school and fit into peer groups. And I feel like I did. But the whole time I have these messages going through my head like, hey, man, you're not quite as good as, or you're less than, or you're not measuring up somehow, right? And I just didn't know what any of that meant. But I found a solution when I was about 16 and I experienced alcohol. Problem solved.
Oh.
I felt better. I felt like I fit in. I didn't have to worry about what I said and I was so worried about what I said and did, what other people would think about me or what I thought they would think about me. Hey, I didn't care. Problem solved. I mean, it was over. And so as a result of this process, I developed an addiction to alcohol that lasted over a 20-year period and wound me up in a whole bunch of jails, and a lot of people put me aside. A lot of people suffered. I mean, I caused a lot of pain and suffering as a result of this little thing. So when you say, what are the things? There's a lot, and they're really important to me because they make a difference, man. They make a difference to what our outcome is going to be. Now, you don't have to go to the extent that I did, and really go down this terrible, ugly trail. But regardless, and you don't even have to be a teen, right? Because these principles, regardless of age, they stick with us. And age is no indication of maturity. I can assure you of that. Okay. I'm over 50 and I promise you it's true. So these things, are things that I'm very passionate about and that they do make a difference. And so when we look at horses, let me just tell you this about horses. Horses are so reactive, okay? They don't have the ability to communicate like we do. And so what they do is they have like more senses, it seems like, right? Because they're so cued in on everything that's going on with you, and they're fully reactive to it. So you can come into the barn and you can be like, nothing's bothering me today, But let me tell you, as soon as you come into the barn, the secret's out. They know. They already know, and they will react to it. Okay. So why is this important? This is important because one of the things that, I could really get into this, but one of the things that it demonstrates is what's inside of our heart and souls, and what these thoughts are that are going on between our ears. It's coming out. Okay. It just doesn't come out to horses, but it's coming out to the world and in all the things that we say and do. And so the things that we hold to be true about ourselves, I believe it's like the biggest thing that we can work on throughout our lifetime.
Absolutely. It's energy, and it's just always there, whether we're happy, sad, and we can try to cover things up. And we've all probably been in a situation where we're talking to somebody and we say like, what's wrong? And the person's like, nothing, I'm fine. But we know they're not. Right. It's the way either we know their personality, their movement, their tone, but we also sense it. And it's that energy. And as you said, with horses, because they cannot communicate as human beings, they are really in tune to that energy of everything going on around them.
For sure. They are so in tune to it. And a lot of times, if we're not in tune with ourselves and our own energy, we're looking out into the world at the people that are reacting to us, and our horses included, and saying, hey, what's the matter with them? What's the matter with you? Not doing, you're not operating the way I think you should be, or, and then we can take offense to that. And, this whole thing is, like I said, the things that we hold to be true about ourselves is it influences everything. It influences everything. And it's not a simple thing. Well, let me just say this. I don't think that, first of all, it's ongoing. This is an important point. I'll just make this quick point.
Pardon the interruption. If you're liking the show so far, please like and subscribe and hit that notification bell. It really means a lot to me. It helps grow the show and the channel and to the show.
When I talk about the beliefs that we hold to be true about ourselves, what I'm talking about encompasses the words self-confidence, self-esteem, or self-image, or self-concept, our relationship with ourselves. I'm wrapping this all into this, and I'm calling it the things that we believe to be true about ourselves. Now, this belief system that we have, that we believe about ourselves, okay, a lot of times, most people, we look at it in society as something like, oh yeah, I remember that. And I'm a confident person now because I wasn't so much then, but I am now. And I can prove it because you see what they're doing, trying to get all that attention. That's no self-confidence, not me. So we kind of have this view that it's something that we check off the list at some point in our life, and then we go on. When in fact, that's not the way it goes, okay? What's happening is as we go through life, every moment, it's happening right now, okay, to you and to me and to everyone. We're either causing something to happen or something's happening to us. And when those things happen, this amazing supercomputer between our ears called our brain makes a meaning out of it, okay? Mm-hmm. So let's just say you said something to me, Sally, and it's like, oh man, ooh, that hurt. I can't believe you said that. Now so I'm going along, I'm feeling pretty good, and then you said that thing, and I'm like, whoa. And now I'm going to decide, my brain is going to I'm not even aware of this unless I'm really tuned in. My brain's going to go, hey, what did that mean about you, Shane? I think she thinks something's wrong with you. Now, do you think something's wrong? So then we need to make meaning out of that, right? And then I say, and we can either consciously choose, or maybe if we're not conscious, maybe we just don't feel good about ourselves for a while. And then something else happens, and something and something and something. It's going on consistently throughout our lives. So the point is if we're not aware of it, and if we are not involved in how we think about ourselves, our brain or our subconscious or the rest of the universe is going to decide it for us. And that is not going to be, we're not going to reach our full potential. And that's important because then we don't have the capacity to give to the people we love as much as we could.
Right. And also, too, it's very interesting that our brain does tend to go to the negative things. So if somebody says something negative, our brain automatically, and especially if it's somebody we know, like, respect, family, friends, things like that, we're like, oh, like it hurts our feelings. Then we start to think, is that true? Am I really this way? And then we start to just believe it, even if it could be a moment. And I think we also need to realize that we do have moments of, sometimes I'm in a bad mood. Sometimes I might say something that isn't true, or I'm being mean to somebody and they call me out on it. And then I start to think, am I a mean person all the time? Where it is just that moment, because we all have moments where we're not the nicest, we're not our best self. We do or say something stupid, something, and we have that moment. And especially it's great if we say something and we're like, oh, I said that was really stupid, of course. And we know that it wasn't correct or accurate. And then we start to think, oh, I'm so stupid, I shouldn't say anything. And then we start to go down that hole of, okay, I won't really say much because I made this comment. It was a dumb comment. I know it wasn't correct or accurate. I don't know what I was thinking, but I'm now not going to say much or talk much because we start to beat ourselves up over one comment. And I mean, I know there's been so many times in my life where I've said something and it's almost like as the words come out, I want to grab them and pull them back because I know that, why did I say that? Like, it doesn't even make sense. It's not even right. Maybe it came out not a nice, polite way, but I didn't mean it that way. And it's already out there. And then we beat ourselves up about it.
That is a that is a great perspective. There's a whole bunch in what you said right there, and I really appreciate your comment on that. I'm gonna circle back to the horses and relate it to what you said, because one thing that you're talking about in a lot of things, one of the things is our ability to accept ourselves, okay, and to forgive ourselves, and for the things that we do, right? Because we're gonna do some things that we wish we didn't do, okay?
Right.
And so let me just talk to you about horses. Horses, okay, it's a relationship, man. And so people are going to make mistakes. They do too. They never really told me in a way that I could heard the words, but they do too, right? But let's just say that I do something either because I'm just reacting without thought on an emotion. I react out of anger and I do something unfair in whatever I'm doing with my horse. Or I don't know, right? I don't know. But I do something that out of a lack of knowledge, right? So I'm doing something that's confusing, and I get more information. I'm like, oh wow, that was an unfair thing. I shouldn't have went about it that way. Or like I said, I'm going to come back to the first one. I'll use this one. I just get mad and frustrated, and something else is going on. And I just did something, right? I communicated something to the horse, or I waved my hand, or I smacked him, or whatever I did. Okay, I don't know what I did, but I did something, and I'm like, wow, and I recognize, okay, that was not helpful. That was not useful. I'm not getting where I wanted to go this, and I'm regretting it, and I feel bad, and whatever and whatever. Now, so I'm going to change this, okay? I'm going to do what I can to fix it. So I'm going to come back. When I come back to the horse, okay, he's not going to just stand there and allow you to run over him. He's not going to just lay down in front of your vehicle and let you run over him, okay? He's going to be ready because, hey, you've established that that's the way you're going about it, and I'm going to react to that. But what the horse does that's different than we do as people a lot of times, if we're not really aware and doing this intentionally, is that the horse, after about just a very short period of time, okay, when I change my behavior, now I'm being fair. Hey, this is over. Now I'm doing something that you clearly understand. I've changed my behavior. You could see this. And that horse, okay, after just a couple of times, or depending on the severity of how the thing was, but it doesn't take very long as a point. And once that he accepts my new behavior, the other behavior is gone. And I mean gone. There's no residue. There's not like, hey, remember that one time, because you're going to suffer for it. There's none of that, okay? It's like fully forgiven and forgotten, okay? Now, it'll come back if you come back with something unfair, but to that point, it's gone. So why am I bringing this up? I'm bringing it up because beginning with ourselves, okay, and other people, we're holding on to all this stuff that we've done, and let me tell you, I've done some stuff, okay? We don't going to talk about all that stuff today, but I've done some stuff. But the thing of it is, Sally, we've all done some stuff, okay? Some stuff that not only that we ought to let go, but we're carrying around, most of us, some shame about it, okay? And what shame is, it says, hey, because I did that thing, it means that something about me. It means that I'm less than. And then what you said is what we do is we hide, right? We feel bad, so we stop coming out. We stop trying. We start, we kind of hunker down, and we just live in this ugly, unfulfilled, place because we just feel so bad. And, you would say, well, that just sounds terrible and it doesn't feel good. But the thing of it is it's not helping us, and it's not helping our people if we don't choose to separate who we are and our value as a soul, as a human being, with what we've done, okay? And just recognize, hey, I'm going to do some things that I'm going to wish I wouldn't have. I'm going to make amends for them to the best I can, and I'm going to accept that I'm a human being and that I did that, and that's something I did, but it's not who I am. Because you see what I'm doing with this? I'm taking responsibility for it. I tried to fix it, tried to apologize, tried to make it well, and I'm going to endeavor to do it less or not anymore in the future. That's enough, man. And so if we can learn how to have shame resilience and get through these things, it becomes super important, because when we carry this stuff around, it truly holds us back. And it's not just our own progress. It's our kids, it's our spouses, it's all the people that are close to us that we care about. So
Pardon the interruption. If you're enjoying this episode and you're someone who values performance, clarity, and personal growth, then you're going to love my Mind Matters weekly newsletter. Every week, I send out a quick, powerful piece designed to help high achievers like you master your mindset, upgrade your habits, and lead with more clarity and fulfillment. It's not fluff, it's science backed, actionable, and easy to digest. It as your weekly reset button to realign with the leader you're becoming. So if you want to go deeper than what we've covered here on the show, then head over to www.sallypederson.com. That's me, and subscribe. Your next breakthrough just might be one email away. Now back to the show. It definitely is the ripple effect that we don't think about with that, and I think you're right, exactly. We've all done things, and we just need to realize we can't change the past, can't predict the future either. We only have now, and so it is learn from it. Like the things that I've done, it's okay. Don't want to do those things again. Will do my best not to. I used to get quite angry quite easily over all kinds of stuff, and things now that like don't even bother me. Even well, it was quite some time ago. I had a bunch of nieces and nephews and stuff were over at my house, and they were playing with a ball inside. And I saw them playing with the ball. It was just a small ball. No big deal. I didn't stop them. There was other adults around, their parents around. Nobody stopped, and they were just kind of playing a little bit. And the ball went and kind of hit this kind of open case and broke a cup, like just a small cup. And my brother got really angry. And normally before this point, I would have been furious. And I just said, you know what? It's no big deal. We all saw them playing with the ball. We all could have, any one of us could have stopped them and said no. None of us said anything. I didn't say anything. And it's my house. So I am partially responsible for that happening because I didn't tell them to stop. And it's glass. I mean, it was a really nice glass and I did really like it, but I just thought it's no big deal. Yes, it broke, but nobody stopped them. I didn't say anything. So it is partially my fault because they're a kid. Of course, they're going to play with a ball. I needed to take that responsibility and worked on up to that point with anger issues and just knowing that everything that kind of happens around me, I also need to take responsibility and how I react. Of course, we want to feel those emotions of anger and sadness and things like that. But how long do we want to be in it? And what part of that is our own responsibility and our own fault, really?
Yeah. Yeah, that's another super great point is, with horses, what we want to do. Okay. And I've been training horses for 30 years. Okay. What we all want to do is we want the horse to do what we want. Okay. And let me tell you something. If I got kids in my house throwing a ball, I want them to do what I want too. I don't want them breaking my glass, but they don't, they don't do what I want.
Mm-hmm.
And, with horses, what I see and what I saw of myself early on is like, that horse and he's this and he's that, and I don't know what's the matter with him, and he won't, listen to that language, or he doesn't want to. I mean, they can't even talk. How do I know that? You know what I'm saying? He doesn't like this, or he won't do this, and we have all this stuff, and it's the language irresponsibility. And the thing about it is that once that what irresponsibility does, it stops our progress. If we're blaming somebody else, or even if we're getting angry. And let me just tell you, this is not me saying I don't get angry. Okay. Don't even think that, because I do. But what I have found is that it doesn't have it doesn't have value. I mean, the value is this. Okay. And what if you're listening, this is an ounce. 1 ounce of value, because for just a split second, I feel a little bit better. But on the other side of that, I haven't been able to, it doesn't help the other person. It doesn't help them not do it again. They get resentment. It's so many things just all go backfire. So, just accepting the responsibility is one big thing, because then at least you have the chance to progress and have something positive happen moving forward, because as long as you're blaming somebody else, there's nothing's going to happen, right? We know that. We have to take a look at the situation and say, what can I do, or what could I have done? Okay, so I'll know to do it in the future. And then the next thing is even if you come out, okay, if you're like me and your brain takes over and for a minute before your conscious catches up, and then at least you can come back and, make repair. Repair quick and easy is a big thing. Quick, well, it's not always easy, but repair as quick as possible, is a huge thing, because this is what, as human beings, it's important to have these strong connections with each other. And when we are not intentional with the things that you're talking about, responsibility and, being anger with our anger, having how we have it come out, and then how we repair it and what we do with it, and then it damages these connections, which in turn doesn't give us the things that we need and want in our life and the people that we love.
Yeah, it's true. And I think the biggest thing is that kind of taking responsibility, because how do we learn from something? How do we change something? How do we fix it if we just think that it's all someone else's fault or something else doing? And having that communication. And the thing I often say to people too is, it's incredible how far we've come in the world with technology and like building with architecture and all these things, cars and everything that we have. But our human to human language communication is really terrible. And we've all been in situations where you have an argument with somebody and one person says, well, you said blah, blah, blah. And the other person says, well, yeah, but I didn't mean it that way. But you said those words. And I think that a big struggle that we have a lot of times now too is with text messaging and things, is how you send the message in your mood and your tone and everything. I don't get that. I read the message in my mood and in my tone. And so there's that energy of being with somebody and seeing them and hearing that, because I could be like, wow, that's great. Or, wow, that's great. Exact same words, totally different context of the communication.
I think communication is the most important skill that we can learn, a skill that we can learn in our lifetime. And the thing of it is I don't know how we can even get by. When you think about, okay, I have unique DNA, okay, to all the people that have walked the horse and will walk the face of this earth. Even identical twins have slightly different DNA, okay? I got my own supercomputer, no other one like it. And I have my own experience that has been inputting for a lot of years, okay? And it's my total unique deal, okay? And my unique deal makes its own meaning. So what comes out of this thing, my mouth, and goes into your ears, the way that you, with a different perspective and different DNA, make meaning out of those words, it's a miracle we can even get along as long as we do. With horses, we really have to be intentional and purposeful and focused, because the gap, they don't understand English, right? Or most languages. So they understand horse. So we learn how to be intentional and clearly speak that and really, really go with clarity, or chaos happens. It's dangerous. They're confused. Then what happens is when horses get confused, so do people. That's first step. The next step is frustration. And then that's when the damage starts happening. And with horses, a lot of times it can involve a flight for life. Okay. And with people, it can escalate and, harm relationships, and all the same kind of thing happens in a people way. And so, communication is so important. I really think communication, I think it comes down to the same thing I was talking about, our beliefs. And that is that this is one of those things that we're going to want to endeavor to pursue for our lifetime, to learn skills, because there's so many things in this world that say we really don't need to, right? If I know some acronyms, I feel like that maybe you'll know my total meaning, I'm just going to type a few.
Oh, but those acronyms can have multiple meanings. And that's a thing with acronyms too, because and it depends on like if you think of work related ones, whatever industry you're in will have different meanings for acronyms. And it's tough. And it kind of also, to come back to that connection of the communication and belief, is I think we also need to question our beliefs. Why do I believe what I believe? What is the truth behind it? Or is it an experience? Is it a situation? Is it because your mom and dad taught you it as a child and therefore it must be true? But as we get older, then we start to wonder, like, is that really true? Do I really believe that and think it? And I think that's a great way of communicating with ourselves and wondering, do I really believe this? Do I really think this? Do I want to be this person? Is it okay with me? And for some of those things, it might be yes. I have a great friend of mine, and she openly says, I'm an overly sensitive person. And I often say to her, I said, well, that's your choice. You're choosing to be overly sensitive because you're aware of it. So you are aware. Now, do you want to stay being an overly sensitive person? And if you do, that's your choice. You're aware of it. You choose to be that way. If you don't want to, then you have some work to do to not become so sensitive to things or certain areas, whatever it may be. Work needs to be done, and it will be ongoing forever. And it's a choice to do that, though.
Yeah, for sure. Great point. Also, as far as communication, I will say that just one thing, okay, this is a takeaway for communication. Mm-hmm. Take the time. That's all I'm saying. Just take the time. So what I mean by that is, if it's you and I, a lot of times I think that a quick few words in a text or an email is enough. And it's not. And I deal with stable living. We deal with parents and teens. I'm telling you, it's not. Okay. So, and it's not in our close relationships. The people that are high priority to us that we really care about, they're the easy ones to put aside and send a quick this and that and the other. They'll know what I mean. But the thing of it is just we need to take time. Take the time to listen, just to listen. That's a hard one for me. I want to be talking. I want to take time to listen to my wife and the people that are close to me all the time. But it's a skill and an effort that it's an important one. And so that goes along with what you're talking about, which is being aware and taking the time to listen to what we're saying to ourselves. Okay. This relationship, mine with me and yours with you, hey, nobody's going to be around with us longer than ourselves. So, right. I get to be whoever I want. So first of all, knowing that I can believe whatever I want to, I say that to people a lot. Here's the question. What if you could believe anything you wanted to about yourself? Just saying. Okay. Mm-hmm. And so do I want to be do I want to live with an overly sensitive person for the next, as long as I live? I don't know if I do or not. Maybe I don't. And so am I aware that I can change what I believe about me? I don't know. Is there a process? Yes, there is. And one of the things that it entails, we have 7 habits that we use in stable living to evolve your self-beliefs. And you touched on one of them, which is you have to become aware of your thoughts and your words about yourself. Now, a thought, I'm going to define what I'm talking about. It's simply a phrase or a sentence in our mind. Okay. So our thoughts and our words about ourselves. So if I go around saying I'm an overly sensitive man, just the way I am, the way I was born, then I am, that becomes my truth. Mm-hmm. A belief is something that we hold in our mind and we continue to prove it to be true. So your friend, if she says that a lot, she is an overly sensitive person. Okay. She doesn't need to be if she doesn't want to be. So with this language, if we're willing to first of all, become aware, take the time, okay, to listen to our language. about our communication with ourselves. Okay, that's what I call this. And here's the question. Okay, here's the measure. People are like, what are you talking about? How will I know for sure if this is a good thought or if these are good words? And so I'm going to give you the measure. Here's the measure. Here's how you know. Okay, if something comes out of your mouth and it's about yourself, or if you hear a thought that didn't come out of your mouth, but you recognize the thought in your mind. Okay, the question is this thought or these words something that I would use with someone that I deeply care about? Yes or no? If the answer is no, why would you want to be doing it? You don't want to be doing that to yourself. Okay, so then you work on just replacing it. Now, in the beginning, could I say that I'm an amazing person and I love me and I'm a pretty cool dude over here? I couldn't even say I like myself. I couldn't get the words out. I was so wrapped up and lived in so much shame for so long, I couldn't say it because I didn't believe it. So sometimes we have to take little steps towards the direction that we want to be and the beliefs that we want. But I can assure you that we can choose to believe whatever we want about ourselves, and it's going to have a massive impact. It will.
Absolutely. I completely agree with that. And what would you say is the most important thing parents can do for their kids or with their kids that are struggling?
Yeah, that's a great question. I appreciate it. In part, I'm going to come back to what you said a little bit earlier, because the first thing that we can do as parents with kids is the first thing that we need to do is what I described that we do with horses. We're like, that kid, he's doing this and she's doing that and the other, and they won't listen to me and they don't appreciate. And I don't know, it's so much and I'm so overwhelmed and I don't know how to get them to this and that and the other. The first thing we need to do is start right here. Okay. Take a look right here at yourself and say, hey, let's take a look at me. Am I coming out as the confident, loving leader in this situation? Am I happy with me? Because they're feeling what's going on inside of my heart and soul. They know it and they're reacting to it. Mm-hmm. Okay. So the first thing before I start and go to try to fix them, okay, and make it all well inside of me, because a lot of times as a parent, I'm thinking, if they'd just do this, hey, I'd be fine. But I'm a wreck over here because of what they're doing. Okay, you're a wreck because of what you're thinking. So the first thing that we have to do is take an inventory of ourselves and make some necessary changes. It doesn't just do the best we can. Okay, take a look at ourselves and do what we can to improve ourselves and show up like the kind of parent that we want to be. And that really is the next thing. And then, we just have to love them, We have to love them through it all. And I mean, we all know that because we love them unconditionally. But what do I mean? Okay. I mean, we have to do the things that we talked about. Take the time to listen. Take the time to listen, and to develop. That's one of the things that will do this strength. It'll come to me, Joe. There's a man, it'll come to me in a minute, but he says, honor their perspective. And I took that. And that is exactly what we need to do with human beings and our kids is just now, whatever their perspective is, maybe it's going to be ridiculous to us. Okay. Maybe it's going to be that's all wrong. What the hell are you talking about? Okay. You don't want to say that. What we want to do is just listen and honor their perspective. That means listen to what they're saying and let them give it value. Okay, regardless of what, we don't have to agree with it or accept it or have it be a policy in our house or, have it be okay or any of that. We just have to really honor their perspective so that they feel valued. Okay, so this is a big thing. Parents, one of the biggest things, Sally, is people I feel so disconnected and all they're doing is in their phone and I feel so disconnected and I can't connect with them anymore. They used to be grabbing a hold of my leg and I couldn't get rid of them. Now they won't even speak to me. They want me to drop them off 2 blocks from school and they're ashamed to be around me and I'm mad about it. And so, they're doing these things for a reason. Part of it, sometimes it's just part of growing up, but one of the best things that we can do is just be present and just listen sometimes it's hard because we got so much going on. I mean, we got to pay the bills, run the household and cook the meals and, make some responsibility, get to school and all of the things that we're trying to do, and it's a lot. Okay. And so the best we can, just to be present and listen, I think that's a really important beginning.
Absolutely. I agree. I remember when my daughter was younger and I was a single mom. Her father passed away when she was really little. And I made sure that 95 probably percent of the time, dinner time was dinner at the table, no TV, no phones, no anything. And it was so funny. She would come home from school. And if I was working from home, I've worked from home for long before it was popular to work from home. And every time she would come in, I would always say, "How was your day?" She's like, "Fine, boring." I'm like, "What did you learn?" "Nothing." It's like, "Why do you ask me that every day?" And I said, "Because every day you've learned something and I want to know how your day was." And then she would, go to her room, do homework, whatever it was. And dinner time, we would sit at the table. And then she would tell me, and then she would start, "Oh, today at school, blah, 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 blah." And sometimes I would say, "Why don't you tell me that when you first come in?" Like, because it was nothing happened. It was boring. But when we sat at the table and sometimes there'd be no talking for 5 minutes, 10 minutes, maybe, whatever it was. But then she would start to talk about whatever happened at school that day. And we would just sit there and talk. And so I said, "That's the way it is." And she's like, "Well, what if I don't want to talk about school?" I said, "Well, we can talk. If you don't want to talk, we'll just have dinner in silence then. And that's okay too."
What you're saying is great. There's, what you did when she first came home from school is you opened the door. Okay. Now, when she didn't want to talk when you got home from school, you had a lot of choices. You're like, "Fine, go to your room." Or you could just say nothing, and inside you're stewing. You're like, "I don't know what's the matter with her. She won't talk to me." And you could, have all this stuff going on. Well, that is not going to lead. But first of all, like we talked about earlier today, they're going to feel that, know it, and feel that energy. Okay. If we're upset at the fact, you don't even respect me enough, and I'm over here taking care of everything for you. You don't appreciate nothing. You can't even tell me what happened to you today. And so, or we take it personal. "Well, what's wrong with me? You're telling all your friends, and you told your, somebody else and your teacher, and maybe your teacher's more important than me." And, we can get all this dynamic going on inside of us that's not going to help. But it sounds like in this case, which is a good example of, we just do our best to open the door and love them unconditionally and let them be, because they're going to make mistakes. Hey, horses have their own free will, man. They do what they're going to do. I can suggest a lot of things. I can ask. I can have consequences. I can do all the things. Okay. But they're going to do what they choose to do. Okay. Just like your daughter did. But the thing of it is right here, if you open the door and have it be okay, then what I heard was, she knows that this is a safe place, an open place. No. And then when she has the need, you're available, then you can make the connection, and it makes a really big difference how you go at it when things aren't working well in the beginning.
Right. And I think too, they're learning, right? Kids are learning a lot all day long. And by the time they get home, there's probably part of their brain that's just exhausted. And we can say this with people too, with spouses and things like that you get home and sometimes people just want to do nothing and don't want to talk about it and they just want to kind of decompress or relax, have a shower, like do whatever makes us feel good to relax. And then after we've done that, to be like, "Oh, okay, well, yeah, now I'm open for conversation." And I think in that case with her, it was by the time she got home from school, she was just tired of being at school and learning all day, that she just wanted to not think about school for a little while and kind of have that downtime. And then, of course, be open and we would have conversation when she was ready. And it was just a habit. And I didn't, I just did it every day. And I'm just like, okay. If nothing happened, okay. And just to kind of let it go. So, but Shane, if people were interested in more information about getting involved with stable living and working with you, what are the best places for them to find you?
Yeah, appreciate that. Thanks so much. We are at thehorsemanshipjourney.com. I have a free weekly video that you can sign up for. It's called "You Are Destined for Greatness." But everything that we do is located at thehorsemanshipjourney.com.
Perfect. And I will make sure that that is in the show notes to make it easy for people to connect with you. And I just want to say thank you again very much for your time today. I appreciate it.
Thank you for having me.